Okay, so thank you, everybody. It's nice to see everybody back, and we are restarting after almost a year. Last November is when we had the last session, and then we are having this particular session. I'm very happy to see the same enthusiasm. Almost 10 people joining in, and then we are having this session. I'm very happy to see the same enthusiasm. Almost 10. Okay.
There is echo.
Yeah. It was also coming from my YouTube channel, so I stopped that.
Okay.
So again, nice to see everybody. So we will have these book review sessions every week, same 7 to 8 Saturdays we'll have. Next week, KK will give one book. This Bob is returning as the CEO of Disney. So he has written a book. So it's going to be very interesting. So he is going to talk about that. Then Xavier is going to review a book aptly called Quit. So I told him, don't quit reading that book. So he's going to review that book on the 3rd week of this. And then Ashwini has agreed for another book. She's going to read it and then she's going to review that book. So it's going to be already 4 weeks we have already lined up. So every week we are going to have one book and we will discuss around that particular book. Okay, so happy to have all of you. Thank you, Satya, for joining in, and happy to have all of you. So let me restart. Let me share my screen and we will go from there. Can all of you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. So this book is Die with Zero. The beginning of this year, I read this book. It was a fantastic book. There are going to be 3 or 4 very key major points from this particular book that helped me a lot to shape this year in such a way. So I'm going to share all of that and also some bit from how I have implemented or how I think about what the concepts that the book is talking about, the author is talking about. Obviously, if I'm going to only talk about what is in the book, it is not interesting, but it is much more interesting if I would share how I am implementing or how I am thinking about some of these concepts in this particular book. So first, again, I want to ask some of you, let's start with this. What are your fears after retirement? Some of you are near retirement. I don't think there is any retirement for Koronaji. I met him for 2 hours this week. That has really boosted me as well. Even though he is closer of that particular age, I don't think there is any retirement for him. But others, do you have any fears of retirement? Do you think about retirement? What do you think of retirement? Let's start with this. Anyone wants to say anything? Unmute and say it. And it's again a small crowd, so we know everybody. So let me know what you think.
Probably for me, I'm Arpadaraj, and probably for me, it is really a little bit scary, putting in simple terms, thinking about how things are going to be after retirement. Retirement can be any time, but then we are ideally looking at a particular age period, especially in this society. But after that, how things are going to be progressing, and in fact, you are looking at that emotional aspect and financial aspect. There are 2 aspects I'm looking at, and both aspects kind of vary. But I feel probably it is too early for me to look at it at that stage. And the thing that you are telling about, there is no retirement at all. And I actually got into that system of thinking probably I should not be retiring. I should be doing something or the other and then keep going, and then not worry about what actually we are looking at after retirement, because things are so dynamic. You don't really know where we would stand.
you make a very good point, Arpadraj. Probably some other day, I'll also hook up with Corona Ji. You should talk to him. He's very well, deeply thinking about these things. So, but we will discuss about the points that you mentioned. Anyone else? Anyone else? You want to add anything? Sukhwinder Ji, Joyce, Pradeep, Xavier, anyone? Gaurav, what do you think about retirement?
I just want to add, I don't think I have any sort of fears for my post-retirement period. And I'm living with my passion right now also, and I'll be doing more of what I love to do after retiring also. So I am excited and optimistic seeing that as a yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Yes, Gaurav.
I don't have fears of retirement, but I have fears today. Like, I have fears, and they are all related to the wins you keep talking about. They're all related to the wealth, because I had lost a lot of what I had built. So my fears arise, from thinking about the well-being of my near and dear ones, like my child, my wife, my parents. So my fears are always not for myself sometimes, but uh, if I take myself out of the equation, what happens to the family, and so yeah, so fears are there. But retirement, I'm too young, and the Japanese say you never retire. So I'm thinking beyond. In fact, Joseph, you don't retire, because I have kept you as a benchmark. So the energy levels you will have, and now you've said Khurana ji is a superstar. He is like our Amitabh Bachchan. Amitabh Bachchan just turned 80, and Khurana ji is like the person we all must look up to, because he, I think, follows that Japanese principle of not retiring. But yes, I have fears based on the wealth. You talk about wins, but wealth and what happens to my family after that is always a fear with me.
Okay, Gagan, do you want to answer anything? Add anything?
Yeah, I'll quickly add. I am with Sukhwinder when he says that he's optimistic. I would say something on the similar lines. But the fear that I have is maybe my sunset years have not started. So I can't see that end is near. So maybe that's why I am not able to foresee or envisage what will happen after retirement. So that is something I wanted to share. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Satya has shared in the chat, it is not really a fear, but an anxiety. Yeah, I mean, it could be an anxiety about what will happen. And so if you really see, there are only two types of anxiety or fear or thoughts that comes in. And then Gaurav also summed up in some being in that. We die broke, we lose all of the money, or we spend everything. So we die broke, or we die with regrets. I'm not done what I'm supposed to have done, or I did not chase what I wanted to chase, and so on and so forth. These are the two. If I were to summarize what Sukhwinder said, Gaurav said, and Satya and Gagan and put in, so those are the two categories that it will fall into. We die broke or we die with regrets, right? So the author of the book, he starts with all of these things, and he goes on to say the best way to live life and best way to counter these two anxieties or the fear, the major points is that chase memorable life experience. You have to optimize life for it. You have to optimize life around these four points, four aspects. One, you chase memorable life experiences. We normally, either we are chasing money, we are chasing, making more money, we are chasing making a mark on the world, and so on and so forth. That's one that we normally, everybody goes for it. But he says, don't, in that particular process, we forget to accumulate memorable life experiences. We leave out everything and then we do not accumulate life experience. And he goes on to say how you can do it. Obviously, he's not talking about leaving everything and then going on a vagabond life. He always talks about, like, I mean, how you can accumulate life experiences along with how much you are earning and how you are earning. But the first thing is, be conscious, optimize your life for memorable life experiences. And then we will see some of the ways in which you can build these memorable life experiences. And then the other thing that we think about is, okay, I chase life, but what happens to my kids? I want to leave money for my kids. So that's a very valid point. We all should think about kids and then do something good for them. One of the point that the guy says, and only then it strikes me also, is that we have to give money to kids when they can best use it, not when they are 45 or 50 or something like that, but when they can best use it. That is when they will enjoy that money. So that was a good thing as well. It's the same thing with charity also. So give to charity or whatever, that even if you want to do it while you are alive. Don't set up a trust and give all the money that will go into that trust after you die. Do it while you are living. And that's how he is saying optimize life. So you plan out all of these things so that you have done everything that you have to do, and you are continue to enjoy life. And we will see more of that. And it's also very practical. He also talks about annuities and insurance, wherever that you need to do. So it is not about foolishness, or it is not some feel-good factor. Very, very practical. The whole book is very practical. He's not talking about some kind of an inspirational guru kind of a thing. Forget about everything, go chase your life kind of a thing. Very practical in these things. But if I want to summarize this book, these are the 4 things. Chase memorable life experiences, give money to kids when they can best use it, and donate money to charity while you are still alive, and buy annuities and insurance so that while you are living, you can do whatever that you want to do. Okay. So the first point that it says, again, this was a, once you learn it, it makes sense kind of a thing. But until then, I never thought about it. We think about cumulative returns, we talk about compounding, dividends, and all of those things purely with respect to money, with respect to investment. But he says in life also you can have memory dividends. So year 1, you gain the experience points, you buy some experience. On year 2, you buy something else, you get another life experience. But it is this year 2, you are adding up the memory from the previous year. Oh, I went there, we had this, we bought this, we had a party with our friends, and so on and so forth. You are able to, that memory that piles up, that accumulates within you, and you are gaining from that particular dividend. As you grow more and more and more and more, the dividends keep giving you more and more. So the earlier that you take this particular memory, it is better for you as you go along. And again, as I said, when he says it, and when you read it, when you assimilate that particular into your mental model, it makes sense. But only when I read that book, it was like fantastic idea kind of a thing. So this year, this is what I did a lot. Of course, I have done this, I have practiced this for a while, but this year, very consciously, I started doing this. Okay, and then we will see some of these things. The other thing that he talks about it, at any given point in time, there are only 3 things with respect to life that we have: health, money, and time. When we are young, we have a lot of health, but probably money and time, we don't have much. Again, I'm talking for an average person. I'm not talking about wealthy people inheriting money from their parents and so on and so forth. So for a normal person, money and time, they don't have much, but then health is what they have. And 31 to 60 years, that's the middle life that we have. Money and time, it's kind of there, and then wealth, health also you have. That's your peak kind of a time. Then as you go into the sunset years, you have a lot of money, you have a lot of time, but health-wise, you may not be. So he goes on to talk about these three things, and he says, at every stage, you should trade something that is scarce to something that you have more. So if you have health a lot, what can you do with health that will increase your memory experience, the life experience, and so on and so forth, right? Say for example, when you are young, when health is a lot more, probably you should go for a marathon race, run marathons, go around the world, win a lot of marathons, and then whatever, like, I mean, you play tennis, whatever that you can do with the health, so that you can accumulate memory experience, and so on and so forth, like, for every stage. And he gives one kind of a concept called time buckets. So he says, again, that three buckets that he talks about, he says, if those are the three buckets, then put in what you can do in those years, in those time buckets, so that you are doing something with respect to the three things that you have, and you are able to accumulate life experiences. So whether it is volunteering, charity work, or whether it is doing something for your kids, spending time with your kids, or traveling when the health is much more for you, and all of those kinds of stuff, then do it in those time buckets. And again, like, I mean, that was a fantastic concept, at least in my mind, when somebody has put in like this, as KK says, and I'm sure Satya will love this, a picture says more than what words can say, right? So when the picture is like here, then it hits you and say, oh, okay, I mean, I get it. So again, like, I mean, I picked up, the book has a lot of visuals like this. So, I mean, Satya will love this book. Others also will love it. And so what he says is, you put these time buckets and then do things in those time buckets. Write a book, go on a trip, and volunteer somewhere, wherever that you can volunteer, be part of Red Cross or whatsoever kind of a thing, right? So at every point you do something, so that, again, the whole point is you're optimizing life for gathering and accumulating life experiences. So that's what he talks about, okay? So we will talk about accumulating life experiences, but I want to take a pause, and any questions, any comments, anything that you have so far before we move further. Anyone has any questions, any comments?
So, Joseph, this is Gagan. If you can throw more light on accumulating experiences.
Yeah, which is what we are going to see next. We will see that. Like, I mean, though the book, he talks a lot about accumulating life experiences, but he didn't go into how. So I thought I will add that up, but I will do that. Yes, I'll do that. Satya, yeah, 30 to 40 is missing. Probably it is very purposeful. Any other comments than Gagan?
No, that's it.
Yeah. Anyone else? Sorry.
Yeah. For me, I married late. At 47, I'm going to be 48 soon. I have an 11-year-old. So all that college and everything, when I go through it, like, so the cycle is different. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm not that late, but I'm also late from a general Indian population. I married around 35 or so. So, like, I mean, generally, like, I mean, I'm late in that particular sense as well. So the point is, yes, I get your point, Gaurav. Again, it's a very general one, right? So the cycle might differ for different people, but again, the concept is that plan time buckets and then see what you can do in different time buckets. That's the point. And I'm sure, like, I mean, you also can plan out things. You say you're 48. I mean, you don't look like one. It was a surprise for me that you said you're 48, but, like, I mean, you can still do a lot of stuff. Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about, how we can accumulate life experience. Everybody talks about life experience. Nowadays, it has also become pretty common. And one of the HBR essay, I think it was in HBR, they talked about life experiences, but again, from a very, very practical point of view, rather than feel-good factor point of view. One of the things that they talked about is, and then, Kuranaji replied back when I sent this as part of my newsletter as well. And if any of you have not subscribed to my newsletter, you should do it. Now, so he talks about, so a lot of people talk about, money cannot buy happiness. So what they talk about is, yes, money cannot buy happiness, because just accumulating money doesn't give you happiness. But with money, you can buy experiences which will give you life experiences, which will give you happiness. So money can buy certain things, experiences, which will give you happiness. So with money, probably you can go on trips anywhere that you want and stay in good hotels. It will give you a lot of experiences, and that will give you happiness. So money probably cannot give you direct happiness. There is no direct correlation, but then that gives you ability to buy a lot of things, travel to places, and then meet interesting people and attend interesting conferences, and so on and so forth, which will give you happiness. That's the point that HBR article was talking about. And that's what I'm also saying here, that you have to accumulate life experiences, travel places. Wherever you can travel. Again, we talked about when you are young, you have health, and probably you have time, you may not have a lot of money. Travel cheap. I have traveled as cheap as I can. And again, go back to that, accumulating life experiences and memory dividends. Even though some of these trips I took ages ago, I think probably 16, 17 years back, when I sit down with my kids, we still talk about it. Me going on a donkey in Egypt to, going to that Buddhist place in Sri Lanka, and so on and so forth. And then we can talk, which is memory dividend, right? So one of the things that I would say is travel places, especially if you're young, please do travel. And if you are saying, okay, I cannot travel abroad, India has vast enough places, so many places. You can name it. You want historical places, India has enough. You want religious places, India has enough. You want natural places like beaches and parks and zoos, India has enough. Anything that you're talking about, deserts, anything that you're talking about, India has sufficient amount. You can travel, and you can see all of these places as well. And you don't have to even travel long distance. In North itself, there are so many places of all of these historical and museum and so on and so forth. South it has, middle you have. So everywhere India has enough of places. Traveling places will help you expand your horizon, expand your memory, expand your thinking, but also you will accumulate a lot and lots of memories and experiences, and that you will be able to treasure up for a very long time, especially when you travel with your family, with your friends. Again, you can talk a lot. The memory is just rich, and you can talk a lot on that. So I would say traveling places is one way by which you can accumulate a lot of experiences. Another one, the next one, I would say fall in love. For me, I've fallen in love with the same girl, thank God, for 17 years. And it has been a tremendous blessing for me, and you can see why. But that's another thing that I would say. And I was talking to somebody, and then they said, I have a poly interest and mono marriage. So that's one way of thinking about it. Fall in love. Especially with the family, take the family, again, combine that with travel, right? Travel, go places, talk to people, and do all those things with people whom you love. And again, you are accumulating experiences after experiences, and that's going to be wonderful as well as you age together, as you witness life events together, holding a baby, seeing them grow, seeing them fight with you. All of those things are life experiences. Again, we talk about all of these things whenever we sit down together. It makes your life so much interesting. Again, chase life experiences is what I would say, right? And spend time with your parents. That's another thing. The reason is, it is not from a, again, I'm not talking from a feel-good factor kind of a thing. Yes, it is good. Some of us are lucky enough that they are still with us. Some of us may not be. The point is, see, they are the bridge to whatever that happened. Ask them questions. How did you do this? How did you do that? So I'll give you an example. Like, I mean, my dad is almost like 70, 75. This time when he came to my house here in Chandigarh, we get to talking. He's not a person who talks a lot within the family, but we got talking. I came to know so many things about him, which I didn't know all his life. So I would say, spend time with your parents, take them out. This year, my parents had a 75th wedding anniversary. My sister threw a huge party. We all gathered together. People came from outside. My whole family came in from everywhere, like, I mean, from abroad and all. They all came in. Again, I'm sure we are going to talk about this, like, I mean, memory dividend, right? We are going to talk about this over and over again and again, right? So spend time with your parents. That's another way that you can accumulate life experiences, because you are standing on the shoulders of them. They will tell you how life was when they had whatever, when they were 20, 25, what they did, what they chased, what they didn't get, what they got, and how they struggled to raise you up, and all of those things. And also, all the troubles that you gave, all of that is going to be memory experiences, memory dividends that you are going to accumulate. So I would say, like, I mean, spend time with your parents. Learn something new. I've always learned everything digital, but this year, again, going back to this particular, die with empty, die with zero. So I started learning ukulele. I'm struggling. It is not easy to learn something new now. I've never done anything musical at all. I can't sing. I can probably read a song, but I cannot sing. But yeah, I am learning ukulele. It is going very, very slow, but I'm doing it. So learn something new. Again, I go and my son learns guitar. He can play a guitar to some extent. I go and exchange notes with him. I ask him how you do it. Again, it's an interaction. It's a combination of all of these things that I've talked about already, and one feeds to the other, giving you memory dividends. So again, I would say learn something new, maybe learn a new language, learn Spanish, French, or, you are all in North India, probably learn Tamil. And if you're in South, learn some other language, Hindi or Spanish or French, or who knows, maybe, some Greek or some other language. Learn something new. And that will change again, it'll open up your mind, but also you will talk about all of the struggles that you have or you had when you were learning at a much later point in time, right? So that is how you accumulate life. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions, any comments? Gagan, do you have any points to add here? Anyone have any points, anything to add, anything to ask?
I think I can re-emphasize on one part what you said about knowing about your parents or talking to them. The reason why I'm talking about that.
Arparaj, I thought about you when I put that slide, and then that's one of the reasons why I spent a lot of time with my parents this year.
So this, just on the background, I just happened to spend about 25 days with my father, and this year, I think that was the longest in the last probably 20 years I had spent with him. But I kind of got to know a lot about him, and I spoke about it also to Judana. So I kind of I've been telling my friends also. I think a lot of things we don't know about them, and we think we know, but then a lot of things we don't know about them. And I'm still learning about whatever experiences they have gone through, and it's something different. I think it will help our life a lot. It will make our life a lot better if we get to know about what they're going.
Absolutely, Captain. Absolutely. Yeah, Gagan, you want to say something? Ashwini, you want to say something?
Yes, Joseph. So I could so much relate to what was said on the travel piece. Majority of the memories that as a family that we have made is, and like we recall over the years, and it's all about that. And one thing COVID has taught is that we don't have to go to any of the fancy tourist place, any of those fancy resorts or something. Just get out of the house, just take a long drive. And I'm in Bangalore, and we've realized that we have so much offbeat locations in a 200 kilometer, 300 kilometer, 200, I could just say, or like day trips that can be taken and come back, so we've realized that all we need to do is head out and make those memories, and finding time to do that. And one thing is about all these memories, recalling what we've been doing is we don't have to do it like a big bang things, do small things which will make it memorable. So this has been a month where both my son and I have birthdays, but he's in 10th grade, and he's been super busy, and so we really could not celebrate both. But then we've been like, okay, let's have dinner today, let's do a movie to this weekend. It's just grabbing those small couple of hours and making this whole month special for us. So I can totally relate to making those moments happen.
Thanks, Ashwini. Thanks for sharing, especially that, we all get busy. As you said, that small things that we can take here and there, and we can spend with our family, or take a trip, and so on and so forth to accumulate life. I resonate with you. Thank you. Gagan, do you want to say something? Okay. Anyone else wants to say something before I go to the what about kids? That's another thing that normally we have a question. Okay, if I am going to chase life experiences, if I'm going to spend all that money, and if I'm going to die with zero, what happens to kids? Shouldn't I leave money to my kids? Generally, the way we think about it is, we'll accumulate all the money, the wealth, we'll put it into a trust, and we'll give back to our kids, or we will buy houses and stocks and some other properties, and so on and so forth, and then we will give those things to the kids, right? That at least that's the way I thought about it. I'll buy houses, and I'll accumulate some of the assets, and then I'll give it to kids. He makes a very good point. You have to give money to your kids when it has most impact for them. And that would be when they are 25 to 35 years time period. That's when it's going to have most impact for them. They can travel around the world. They can start a business and try to see what happens, and so on and so forth. That is when 25 to 30 years, you are alive, you are able to see the fruit of that. That is when you should give as much money that you can give to your kids. The second point that he talks about is the best gift that you can give is not just the money. The best gift is the time that you spend with them, the experience that you accumulate with them, so that they can have memory dividends. And the lessons they learn from you and along with you, that's the greatest gift that you can give than leaving them just with money. So this year, again, my son and I, especially the younger one, we have date nights. Some days we just go for a cup of coffee, only he and I. We talk everything, right? All those things that he has in mind, we'll talk about it. So we do that. I take my sons for industry visits. Sukhwinder was gracious to host us for the first industry visit. Again, we talk about it even today. What Sukhwinder uncle did, and how he, all of that, how he gave us a tour of this industry, his industry, and my son still talks about, oh, he let me have the gun and hold it. He still talks about it. That's memory dividend. That's how you accumulate memory dividend. In one of the industry visits that we had, we went to a dairy farm, and my son, he had milk straight from a cow, and he still talks about it. Oh, I will never forget it. And whenever he sees a cow, he will say, oh, this is Jersey cow, this is Indian cow, and he will go on and on about his experience in it. That is how you build memory dividend for yourself as well as for your kids. So again, you have only 12 summers with your kids. From the time they are born, 12 summers with them. After that, they are going to fly away from your house. Like what Ashwini said, right? My 10th standard comes in, they are busy. As soon as they graduate out of 10th, they will be busy with 12, and then they will go to college. They are busy, and their life will take on from there. So the first 12 summers is all that you can spend with them. That is when you have to spend money on them, you have to spend your time with them, you have to accumulate experiences with them, and you have to help them accumulate experiences so that they are building the memory dividends as early as possible from that, right? So again, this was yeah, it makes sense. That's what you should do, kind of a thing. Again, it had, and as I said, I started shifting or rearranging my days in a way that I can spend time with my boys and some of the friends also. I'm doing it. It's on the similar lines, but I would say, like, I mean, that is something that has changed in my mind now. Any experience on this before we go to Charity?
I have a question, please.
Yeah.
People come to me when because they know that I'm a happiness guru, and many of the parents, old parents, come to me and they ask me, our sons or our children think that we are obsolete. How do we spend time with them?
See, unfortunately, this is why, I mean, at least this is the way I have been thinking about it. I don't have an answer directly for what the question that you are asking. And this is some of the things that I wanted to avoid, in the sense that initially, if you spend time with them. So let's say, for example, my son, 13 summers, he's 13 now, 13 summers I have spent with him. Now, let's say, for example, I go away, I mean, I go abroad or whatever, the life takes its own busyness on me, and I'm away from him, not spending enough time with him, let's say, for example, another 5 years. But whenever I come home, that bonding will still be there, because I have spent the early shaping time with him. He has all of those memories. Then it's only a gap, and then I will be able to do it. However, if you reverse, in the beginning, you are not spending time with him, but you want to make it up at a later point in time. By that time, their brain, their mind, their mental models are all shaped. Unfortunately, it doesn't include you. Then if you want to fit yourself into that mental model, it's not going to work. They are going to reject you. So unfortunately, that is how it happens. In some cases, if you are able to show that everything that you have done is good for them, plus they themselves experience life from your point of view, in the sense that they get their kids, they go through that life experiences of, oh my God, working is hard, making money is hard, and that's why my dad did not spend time with me, that's why my mom did not spend time with me, that's why both of them worked. When they see that, probably they will be able to appreciate the hard work that you did and all the life sacrifices that you did. However, that is not going to make up for all of the time. So in some of the cases, you really can't do it. I mean, at least that's how I think, Karan. Very good question. That is exactly what I wanted to avoid.
My request to all the friends over here, think on this problem. Maybe we can help certain people. If you get answer to this question, we can talk one-on-one as well. That's my request, a simple request.
Absolutely. Very true, Kuranaji. And that's why I want to start with this particular book. Even though I read 12 books this year, I want to start with this book. I thought it is a lot more important for the lifestyle that we have, the life that we have, and especially with COVID, everything is kind of disturbed. Every lifestyle, every rhythm, our life, everything is disturbed. I thought we should start with this so that you can start accumulating life experiences and life dividends as early as possible. Thank you, Kurana, for raising that particular point. Thanks. Okay, so what about charity? Again, charity is something a lot of people would want to do, but normally people think about it as philanthropy is afterlife. When I die, I will write a will, and I will say, certain percentage of my money, wealth goes to philanthropy, a trust, and that trust will manage some award in my name, some sponsorship in an university in my name, and so on and so forth, right? he makes a very good point. And when I went to this year, I had the opportunity. It was just early this month. I went to Golden Temple, and one of the things that I learned there was that the most powerful and the most rich, they all come there. Not only they all sit down together and eat, as equal, but not only that, they all volunteer as well. They all volunteer. Some of the people are in the booths that were getting slippers, where you had to leave your slippers before you get into the Golden Temple. And all of these people are not poor. These are not employed by Golden Temple. They are all volunteers. And some of these guys are rich. They are powerful, but still they come and do it. So the point that this guy, the author, makes, the optimal time for charity is not when you are dead. It is when you are alive. So again, that changed my perspective as well. I get involved in a few of the charities now. But the point here is, again and again and again, the point is the optimal time for anything, whether it is your own life experience, whether it is with your kids, whether it is with your friends, whether it is charity, it is not when you are dead. It's when you are alive. So optimize your life. Plan your life accordingly so that you can accumulate memory dividends as you go through life. Okay. So the last point he talks about, again, he dedicates one whole book. As I said, it is very practical. He talks about annuities and insurance. So insurance is while you are living, while you are working and living, if something were to happen to you, what do you do? That's a risk that is covered by insurance. The point that he also says is, instead of accumulating money for what will happen in the later days, the no-go days, put on those money on your health. Eat well, go for gyms or do exercises. Put that money, whatever that money that you think you will need after retirement when you are older, put that money on yourself now, today, for being fit, to eat healthy, buy healthy food. If possible, reduce the time. And then, Coronaji and I, we talked about it this time. I met him. Reduce the time between the farm to your plate. The less number of time, the less number of stages that the food goes through from farm to the plate, then it is as healthy as possible. Of course, it's going to be expensive. That is why the author says, invest that money that you think you will accumulate for post that retirement life or older life. Put that money now so that you are being fit, you are eating healthy, and then you are, when you reach that particular point, you are still able to enjoy life and think of your memory and so on and so forth, right? So he talks about annuities and insurances as well, and then how you can do it. Of course, not all the things that he talks about is, and the author is US author, the American. So not everything is applicable to Indians directly, but the concepts are, and then these are available, and then we can do it as well. Okay. So as I always say, have a life of wins. That's all I have for now, and we will have a conversation around this. We'll take questions, and again, not that I know everything or I'm an expert in this, but but like, we can discuss about this. Any questions? Any comments? Yeah, Ashwini, go ahead.
Joseph, I'm very happy that you resumed this. I really missed these discussions. So I just wanted to thank that you've started these sessions again. It was lovely hearing a lot of people's voices. And when I heard all those familiar voices, I was like, oh, wow, we have such a nice community here. We've missed them. So thanks for reinitiating this.
Lovely to hear that, Ashwini. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.